Hello, 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 hello? Oh, wait, let me turn the light on. Oh, this light doesn't work. Oh my god, what is going on? Alright, sorry about that, guys. Hello, 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 hello? Hello. I just did that to test if my voice is working or something. Hello, guys. I am back. The reason why I am back, I was live streaming briefly earlier. It wasn't for that long. I don't know why my camera's acting weird. It wasn't for that long, but I kind of ended it because I didn't think anything was going to happen today. I decided to go live in the first place because of the severe winds in Kansas. But now we have a supercell in the UP of Michigan, which I did not expect today. I mean, there is a 2% up there, but I don't know how it's developed. I know it has good conditions surrounding it, but I guess we're going to be tracking that now. So, open up your books, everyone, and let's look to our storm in Michigan. Let me just get everything set up. I always forget to do this. Always forget to do this. Alright, here. Okay. Okay, sorry, my mesoscale discussions here. Tropical outlook. I know we're not really going to need that, but... And then, storm reports. Okay, so let's switch over to our radar. This is currently the scene that was across the United States at the moment, and Canada. However, the main thing that we are looking at is a surprising tornado warning over here near Munising, Michigan. And this storm is in a 2% risk. It has a fairly decent environment around it. It had a bit more of rotation earlier. You can see one scan ago. It had a huge little dot to it that kind of showcased a small little area of convergence. So I don't think this is on the ground or anything, or ever was, but sorry about that. There was something in my mouth. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, there is a potential storm that could produce a tornado at any moment over here in Michigan. So this still is a concern at the moment for you guys just south of Limestone and in Hiawatha National Forest. So this is in what counties? It's a county and another. It's in Delta and Alger counties. So Delta and Alger counties, if you live in those counties, of course, it's not the entirety of those counties, but if you live in the southwestern portion of Alger County, I think this is the southwestern portion, right? Is this really just in Alger? Yeah, southwestern portion of Alger County, and the northwestern portion of... Okay. Northwestern portion of Delta County. I keep getting confused with my numbers here. Okay, you know what? Never mind. But anyways, this storm definitely is strengthening, and you can see it doesn't have as strong as rotation it did a scan ago, but it's definitely going to recycle as typical supercells do. This is a supercell. Yes, I know. It might be hard to think of this in Michigan, even though we did see one in Michigan earlier this year. I meant in the UP of Michigan, but it does happen from time to time. So we will see some tornadoes from this storm, most likely. They did just issue a mesoscale discussion for this supercell, a 40% chance of a watch. There is an 85 to 110 mile per hour tornado risk, and also 55 to 70 mile per hour winds are possible, and some hail as well, up to 2.50 inches in diameter, is possible. So they're looking out for this storm. It will eventually enter into an environment that isn't as favorable, probably when it reaches Newberry or just east of it. However, for now, we do have a pretty favorable environment for the storm to keep showcasing those rotation signatures and possibly drop a tornado. Now, this isn't the only thing we have going on. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Binghamton, New York. Binghamton, New York, this is your time to enter indoors and stay away from those windows and doors. Make sure that you are inside now, not outside, especially with the hail with the storm and the winds. You know, I can't really see the winds as much on radar, but they're probably in here somewhere near Port Dickinson. But they're heading right towards the I-86 corridor, so make sure you're okay over there. We also do have another storm developing behind it, but that's probably not going to pose as much of a hail threat because the environment's starting to weaken in this region. However, you never know. That could also pose a hail threat. I don't think any more tornado threat with any of these storms, though. There was no real tornadoes with those storms anyways. Of course, we do have our gigantic damaging wind event occurring in western Kansas. It's not really gigantic yet, but it is producing up to 70-mile-per-hour winds in western Kansas. So that will cause some impacts for Sharon Springs, up towards Oakley, down towards Ulysses and Johnson and Lakin. So those areas are experiencing 60 to 70-mile-per-hour winds, and they'll probably experience higher winds as this moves east, or areas to the east will experience those higher winds. So definitely be on alert for those. These winds can definitely cause unobscured objects outside to move around, possibly injure you, but maybe not damage your building quite that much, because it's not necessarily a tornado. But we're still watching on this storm southwest of Munising, Michigan, as it is continuing to move. But yeah, it definitely weakened with that rotation signature, so that's good. Let me look at the photographs in front of this. I don't have that on my radar program, I'm pretty sure. Wait, let me just make sure. No, this is not going to work. How do we... I know I have it somewhere here. Whatever. I don't know what that thing does. Okay, wait a minute. I don't know how to get the photographs in this area, so I'm just going to do the mesoscale thing. So let's go to home of the SBC website. Let's check the environment around this. That's tomorrow, so we'll probably be live tomorrow, most likely. If this loads, ever. Let me just check something. Okay, so you're just not going to load. Just give it a moment, folks. I think a lot of people are on the SBC website right now, so I don't know why, because there isn't a new update coming in for another hour, but you never know. So, of course, we do still have our storm in Michigan. It's not as intense as it was before with that rotation, but it definitely is approaching Michigan 28 and Michigan 94 towards Shingleton as it continues to its northeast. Okay, I don't know. Is SBC not working today? It was working. Oh. Who is CloudFront? You know what? Whatever. Let me check the models. No, I think this exists somewhere, so wait. Just give me a second, folks. Oh, wait. What is this? This is weird. Okay. That's not gonna work. That's upper air soundings. Okay, that's why. Surface maps. Here's the photographs. Sectional analysis. Okay, I don't know. Whatever. I can't find the photographs in this region because the SBC website is down. So just bear with me for a second. Let me see if it works now. I don't think it's gonna. But... Okay. Alright, I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. I'll just leave it on in the background. Otherwise, we do still have a storm in Michigan. I need to change this, because this is way out of date. It's 1:20. Okay, there you go. Okay. Oh. The minute I do that, the tornado warning's gone. So that's interesting. Anyways, guys, we do no longer have a tornado warning in the UP of Michigan, but I would not be surprised if this tries to develop again. It definitely could. I'm unsure at the moment, but it's still in a decent environment, I would say. So we still gotta watch this storm's potential. I'm unsure if it's really gonna do too much more, but it definitely could. So definitely be aware that this storm still has the potential to produce more tornadoes, as well as hail. Don't forget, this does still have the hail potential. It's still under a severe thunderstorm warning for ping pong ball size hail. So definitely be aware of that. You can see it here. Well, that's the velocity. You can see it over here. This is where the main hail core is, east of Limestone. I'm just trying to see if I can find soundings. Kansas? Okay, well that makes sense, yeah. That would make sense if we got an EDS there. Let me see. Where would this be? EDS. There's... Is it like under these severe thunderstorm warnings? Am I missing something? There's no EDS. Or is it in Nebraska? What? Or is it in Texas? I'm not seeing the EDS. Wait. Let me see here. Oh, there is. What? Oh, it's because it's buried beneath all of these other severe thunderstorm warnings. Okay, so that's annoying, but over here in Leoti, there is now 80-mile-per-hour winds heading towards your location, and probably already there at this point. You can see the winds with this storm. Honestly, the greater winds look to be near Sharon Springs, but I'm not ruling out that there could be winds here too. So there definitely could be 80-mile-per-hour winds heading towards Leoti, so definitely be aware of that. This might be a strong storm heading into Leoti, Kansas, in Wichita County. So definitely make sure to take shelter there now, as there is 80-mile-per-hour winds approaching your location, and that can cause a lot of unobscured objects to come towards you. That's what we're currently seeing. Let me change my title. So there we go. Okay. Let me see if the SBC website works now. Yeah, it's not working right now. Let me just see. Hold on. Okay, here. Okay. Wait, no, this is from the SBC as well. Wait a minute. Here, let me try this. Okay, what about this? Oh, wait, no, that's the same thing. Once again, I just keep clicking on the same website. Okay, this. Okay, so you can see all sounding near Saint Sault Marie, but that's kind of far away from the storm. But you get the environment, I guess. I'm just trying to look at the environment. I mean, alright. Well, this is what it was forecasted for right now. You can see there's a lot of cape here. Okay, so this is what we're seeing on the model runs. This is not going to be perfect, but this is all I can find at the moment. The SBC website is down, so we're going to have to resort to this. But you can see there is some pretty good photographs here. It's kind of hard to tell with all the noise in the background, but you definitely can see something. I see a bit of curvature with height. Let me take a sounding, actually, right where these storms are. This is a tornado sounding. It's not too intense or anything, but you can see that Storm Slinky is going absolutely crazy. It's definitely turning left initially, so that is interesting. The temperature dew point spread isn't that bad, but it's not the best either. There's a bit of a dry slop, but not anything insane. But there's no contamination on this, so this is basically the best indication you can get with this storm. You can see there is a ton of cape here. I'm surprised this is in the UP of Michigan. Where does it say the cap? I don't know where it says the cap. I mean, I kind of know it's CIN. I'm unsure, though, because something said that it was otherwise. But, efficiency here is, like, 41. So, that's, like, the bulk shear. And where's the SRH? SRH. Well, supercell is 11.6. And you can see the significant tornado parameter is 1.4 about. So, this definitely is in a primed environment for more tornadoes. I'm unsure if we'll get a strong tornado from this. It doesn't seem likely, but it does seem like it's a possibility with this storm, given how it's trajectorying towards a better environment. It has a trajectory towards a better environment, rather. You can see there's also this decreasing in size supercell right along the New York-Pennsylvania border. It's actually coming towards New Jersey, but it's not really doing much right now. It's continuing to weaken as it continues moving south. This storm over here near Binghamton is the main concern right now because it is actually severe warned, but it's not really doing much at the moment, so. But we are still watching our storm in Michigan, which now is not even severe warned at this point. It's now just a special weather statement, which I guess makes sense because the hail kind of died down with this. I'm unsure if this supercell is going to actually last. I wonder if they just issued this mesoscale discussion for nothing. Well, not nothing, but, like, it was there briefly. But, like, you know, it's going to die immediately after the mesoscale discussion was issued. But, of course, we do still have a risk for other supercells to develop in this environment. It's not only confined to the UP of Michigan. You can see there was a storm trying to develop near Elcho, Wisconsin, but that kind of fell apart. You can also see a few little storms near Stevens Point, and there is also a severe thunderstorm warning near Sturgeon Bay. I think that's in Door County or right near Door County. Where is this? It's not in Door County. It's in... Okay, northeastern Kewaunee County, but it is in parts of Door County, actually. So, Sturgeon Bay is in Door County, so. That storm is still something to worry about before it gets off the... Not worry about, but, like, you do have to be prepared for it, for sure, as it moves into Lake Michigan. But let's go back to our 80-mile-per-hour windstorm. Let me see if any of these other warnings were actually upgraded. Okay, yeah, so we do have that 80-mile-per-hour storm in Leoti. Leoti definitely be taking shelter right now. There is some strong winds with this. That's what we expected today. Definitely what we were expecting with this conglomeration of storms. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even notice there was a tornado risk with these storms. I guess that's because it's a QLCS threat, so I didn't even realize that. We also do have the storm behind the line near Kirk, Colorado, but not really doing much. So still a little bit to look at. Definitely no more tornado warnings, so that's good. Okay, so it's like an on-ground report, so thanks. In Puerto Rico, there's some thunderstorms, but I feel like there always is at this point. Okay, wait. There's no special weather statement, but I know it's there. Okay, yay. Where are you looking? It's KA. Why can't I type? Is my computer down or something? Like, what is going on? Okay, wait. I can't search anymore. I don't know why. I guess they disabled the search function because it always is dysfunctional anyways. So. Okay, there's KA, and I think there is some rain there. Well, there was a storm there. Or storm approaching there, actually. There's a storm approaching there, actually. Every storm is moving west. Yeah, I was looking north of Arecibo. That seems like it has more stuff. So, I was looking there. That's what I was looking at. But I bet there's a storm in KA too. Okay. So we still have a severe threat in the UP of Michigan. It's definitely dying down a bit, but I'm not saying it's over. Even though this storm does look like it's shriveling up. You can see that. It's also looking like it might do another split, because you can kind of see the two tails here. It might do another split, so I don't know. This storm probably doesn't have much time left, but we'll see if any other storms develop in northern Wisconsin. There is less of a chance of that happening. It seems like this was a very short-lived supercellular type storm. It did last for a little bit, but it seems like it's already dying out due to all the mergers, so I wouldn't be surprised that the storm starts to die out soon. We, of course, have... Where is this 80 mile per hour? Oh, I don't know if it's warned for 80 mile per hours. Miles per hour anymore. It doesn't look like it's warned for 80 miles per hour anymore, but definitely still a strong storm, 70 mile per hour winds, so definitely still be aware of that. The winds are most likely closer to Wallace, Kansas, so definitely be aware in Wallace, Kansas, heading towards Winona. There could be some strong winds heading to you. Definitely a risk there. We also do have some storms over here in Canyon, Texas. Just some winds, mostly. It looks like it's from the outflow boundary here. The severe thunderstorm warning might be for the outflow boundary. Which is kind of weird, but it does happen. Because the outflow boundaries push from the cold pool. But yeah, look at all these reports we've gotten over the past couple of days. Definitely a lot. We had a lot of damaging wind reports in New York from those storms. And a couple of hail reports, too. This... trees down. Very small storms, but they still exist. Of course, we do have storms in Canada. So we're still looking in Canada, specifically Ontario, near Cobden. There does look to be a small little storm there. Specifically right here, but this also might be the inflow, what I'm seeing. There's some rotation, but I think it's contaminated. It would be approaching Muskrat Lake, but not quite there yet. But we're still watching these storms throughout the United States and Canada as they continue to develop. Definitely still an active picture in this crescent-type shape. Except for down here. There's one lone severe thunderstorm warning cluster near Panama City. Looking back here again. There's a couple of storms, but... Alright, so there is a storm moving offshore the upper peninsula of Michigan now. As you see, it is close to Munising, so Munising's probably just getting some rain right now. I wouldn't be surprised if they were actually getting some of the hail with the storm. I don't think so. Here, wait, let me see if I can do. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but we're definitely getting a lot of training storms in Puerto Rico, but that's typical with the tropical climate, so. So still some strong winds over here in western Kansas. I would still not be in your safe spot, but go near it, just in case something happens where you get 80-mile-per-hour winds. This is still a cluster of storms, a full line. This is not really part of the line, so I would say it's a little separated, but definitely in the same system. But you can see over here in Goodland towards Garden City, there's a lot of storms trying to develop here. Lots of wind with them. And of course, there's storms further down south too. You can see this one near Canyon, Texas. All the way towards the edge of the severe thunderstorm warning, which goes all the way down to Lubbock. So nothing too concerning right now, I will admit. There will probably be some stronger winds in Kansas, though, so I wouldn't give up on those. But it does look like the tornado threat has briefly died down in Michigan. So, we'll see if it ever redevelops. I don't know if it will. Because it doesn't look like a lot of storms are active, so we'll say that. But you can see how much it just shriveled up. So that's definitely an indication that it's not really doing much more for much longer. Still watching the storm that's going through Binghamton right now. It's right now in the State University of New York at Binghamton. It's continuing southeast. Let's continue to watch that storm. As it moves through, it may produce some hail. But to be honest, seems like things have calmed down just a little bit. Not fully, but just a little bit. Still has 70-mile-per-hour winds with these storms in western Kansas, though, so that's still definitely a lot. Does look like a tornado threat died down slightly, but we're still watching to see if anything materializes in this region. If there's any more storms that fire in this region, there still is plentiful environment capacities there. Sorry guys, I have like a mosquito bite there or something. You can still see the storms near Stevens Point. They're trying to intensify, but not really doing much right now. They're continuing to move to the east-northeast. But yeah, this storm really shriveled up south of Munising. I mean, it's still there, but I bet it's going to weaken for the time to come. I think it's due to the forcing or something. There's some part of the environment that's not perfectly lined up with each other, with all the other pieces of the puzzle. So, that's probably what's going on right now. But yeah, we are down to 17 severe thunderstorm warnings. Well, probably I'm not counting the ones in Canada. Okay, so we're still at 24 then. Let me see if I can find a camera on that weakening Michigan storm. I did see a few cameras in that region, but I don't know, not a lot. Where is this looking? So, it's looking like a little bit east. A little bit east of north, so that's not going to work. Closest to cameras traveling east. Looking at west, so this isn't going to work. Yeah, I don't know. Traveling west. You can see a storm here, but I can't really zoom in that well for some reason. You can see it here. This is what the storm looks like currently, probably from a distance. Or a storm that is close to it probably looks like that, so... I'm unsure exactly what that's depicting, but... There is a few storms around there near Hiawatha and Manistee. But it's mostly just rain right now. It's not really storms. Let me check the lightning on those. I want to see if this supercell even has lightning anymore. It does still have lightning, but definitely not as much as this storm that's now over Lake Superior. It's definitely decreasing with that lightning. Let me see what it was earlier. Yeah, this is what it was earlier. Definitely had a lot more lightning. So I don't know. Seems like our threat is dying down with the storm for all hazards. But you can still see this line is continuing to develop over here in Kansas. Definitely still some structure to it. 70-mile-per-hour winds right now. Let me just make sure there isn't any more. Yeah, it's only 70-mile-per-hour winds at the moment. Currently I have 23 severe thunderstorm warnings. Don't change that. It's just my hotkeys. Sorry about that, guys. Probably went live a little early, but honestly, I thought it was going to last longer, that storm. And I feel like we should still be live for the wind threat, at least a little. Because I probably ended it too abruptly earlier. I just didn't really expect this to develop, this situation, but it seems like it's gone now. There is a tiny little storm with maybe some heavy rain and possibly some hail in there, like pea-size or something like that. Near Owasco, New York. Just south of Auburn. This is probably over Auburn Lake. Owasco Lake, my bad. This is over Owasco Lake right now, one of the Finger Lakes. So just be aware of that area. There could be storm heading towards you. Specifically heading towards the southeast right now, towards Cortland region. Just had a tornado recently, actually, but I don't think this is going to produce a tornado because it's so tiny. So, I'm just saying, they did have a tornado recently. It was very weak. We did just get a watch possible mesoscale discussion over here. They are saying a tornado is possible over here in northeastern Colorado and southwestern Nebraska. I did not expect that. Like, there's no risk over here. Realize that. There's no risk over here. But you can see there's up to 90-mile-per-hour tornado. Well, that's the lowest possible amount for tornadoes. But they do say in the major summary of the mesoscale discussion, they're saying these are evolving supercells with a risk for large hail, which makes sense in this region, of course. Locally damaging wind gusts, and perhaps a tornado. So there definitely is a risk up here for some supercells to develop. It looks like they're already trying to develop over here in Wiggins, but of course this is not really a populated area. It is a populated area, but we're not really going to see any major city disasters. We're just going to see some like storms out in the open, wild, it seems. Still, those can cause some damage sometimes, too. But definitely unexpected today. And, of course, the Michigan storm has died now. Or is dying. But we also do have a risk now in Colorado and Nebraska. Let me change my title again. There's definitely a lot to talk about still. Still do have some eventful things going on. You can still see there's some big winds near Goodland. Not anything insane, but definitely worth the 60-mile-per-hour wind warning for the severe thunderstorm warning. And this, too, is also producing some strong winds near Lakin. But it's in a very confined area, so I would be surprised if they issue any higher warning than that. Yeah, there's a storm in Michigan, or lack of a storm, soon. It's deteriorating as it heads towards Germfask. So definitely not as much of a situation anymore, but we could still see some storms in the region. We still have some storms in northern Michigan, not the UP, but the northern MIT, that you can see there. Still have air storms in Canada. Not too much going on with them, but it doesn't look like that they're producing tornadoes or anything. And then this one near Portsmouth due Ford probably has some strong winds in it and strong inflow, but that's about it. So waiting on these storms that will develop. 8 to 10 p.m. That is so late. Just realize how late that is. Usually they develop much earlier than that. Usually they develop at like 5 p.m. Mountain Time, but that's like 10 p.m. Eastern Time. So of course it won't really matter if it's Eastern Time there, but like, you know. Still a storm with some hail and wind. Now heading out of Binghamton, New York. It's heading into Pennsylvania soon. So those areas need to be alert for that. Probably will head towards Scranton eventually. But yeah, definitely a little less active than it was before, but I'm not saying it's over. It's definitely not over. I guess this is from the cold core setup. This is like a cold core setup over here, which makes sense in the high plains. They usually do get cold core setups a lot of the time. And let me see where the low is right now, actually. I don't know how I would see that. Oh, well, I'm just going to look at the model, because... Where's the model? Where's the low? How do I check? Okay, here. Where is the low? How do I tell? Okay, here. Is this it? This is not it. I mean, come on, where's this low? Here, let me see if the SBC website is working now. Okay, it's working again, so that's good. Let me see the measurement analysis in this area and see where the low is. Okay, so the low, it's kind of a cold core setup. It's actually further south, so the winds are like a... I think this is a developing low, actually. This is not the low. I think the low is like further north in Canada or something. Yeah, it looks like it's in Saskatchewan, or is that... Yeah, Saskatchewan. The low is probably in Saskatchewan right now. But there is a secondary low starting to develop over here in Colorado. Southern Colorado. So this isn't really a cold core setup. I would just say these are actual supercells. I mean, cold core supercells are his thing, but definitely don't get as strong. So I don't know. We'll see how this risk pans out. We do have our new SBC outlook coming in about 30 minutes. I would say a little more. So definitely some changes there. Once again, guys, if you have any questions, just make sure to comment. Or make sure to ask me any questions. You don't have to at anybody. I'm just going to assume it's for me if you ask a question. Unless if you at someone else. But yeah, still lots of storms ongoing. But this storm is done for. Over here in the UP of Michigan. That really happens when there's... with these storms in the UP of Michigan. They really don't last long. I feel like that always happens. They're very short-lived. These storms are long-lived, usually. I mean, I would check in Colorado for some cameras, but there's not really any supercells yet, so we'll wait and see when they develop. Still isn't in Pennsylvania yet, this Binghamton storm. It's still kind of in Binghamton, but not really downtown. It's to the west of downtown, in the Johnson City area. So it's still heading south. Still be alert if you live in areas approaching the storm. Or the storm is approaching it. Some hail might be in the storm northwest of Fort Morgan, but not anything crazy. It might be a little bit of hail, but it could also be heavy rain. It could also be really heavy rain. It's hard to tell. So. Let me just go get some water. I'll be right back. Or something. So we're just waiting for these additional supercells to develop, but we'll be here to cover this wind threat as well, just in case if it materializes anymore. But right now, still 60 to 70 mile per hour winds in western Kansas. There's still a threat over there. There is somewhat of a threat still here in New York, but it's with an isolated storm, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. There are other storms developing, but they don't look... It looks like there actually is a few storms developing now, but they might develop into a line and maybe produce some winds, but the environment is sort of weakened after the storms this morning. Or this early afternoon, more likely. So we do have large hail on the storm north of Munising, but it's off the shore now, so it's no longer a worry for anyone in that region. So 60-mile-per-hour winds are now heading into Oakley and Colby. So maybe some more winds there. I know you guys have a lot of wind events recently, but this won't be like that. It'll be a little bit more of a breeze, but not really a breeze because it's with the thunderstorms. So really hard to tell what's going on with this Binghamton storm. It's still very close to the radar, but it does look like it's weakening from what we can see. Still a lot of storms trying to develop southeast of Syracuse. Not anything crazy, but definitely some bubbling thunderstorms. And then over here near Ottawa, still some strong storms. Mostly wind threat right now. Yeah, this storm disintegrated, man. It disintegrated. Like, look what it was, like, 30 minutes ago. And look at it now. That is insane. I mean, it happens, especially when you get into a bad environment, but definitely didn't expect that. The SBC didn't expect that either. So we're still watching for storms to develop over here. There is a storm on an outflow boundary now. There is a few outflow boundaries developing in the Colorado area. So we're continuing to watch these storms just in case if they can do anything. Heading towards Strasburg, north of Strasburg, heading towards Fort Morgan. So still quite a bit to see. We'll see what those storms can show. Once again, guys, if you have any questions, just make sure to put them in the chat below, or to the side, whatever you want to call it. Definitely helps me understand more about the weather, and helps you understand more about the weather too. Let me see this cameras in Kansas, because I know there is cameras in Kansas. Let me just look. Wait, that's the wrong thing. Wrong thing. Can drive. Okay. So let's look near Colby to see those winds. Of course, I can always rely on this camera. I always look back at this camera. You can see those windmills going in the background. Definitely some windmills going in the background. That probably is due to the winds, because the storm is probably right there. This is actually looking southeast, so that actually won't help. I don't know if this actually was a good camera then. Oh, wow, but you can see the storm there. Definitely has not really a base to it. It's more of like just some cumulonimbus clouds towering over the skyline. Well, not skyline, but like the grassy fields. So there's definitely some dark clouds there, but I wouldn't call it a base yet. And also, it doesn't seem like these storms would create a base. It would more likely create a shelf cloud, which is just a ragged cloud that forms under the cumulonimbus cloud's bottom, or at the cumulonimbus cloud's bottom, towards you. Yeah, still have a lot of storms active right now. So definitely still worth paying attention to as these storms continue to extend to more areas. Let me see how many severe thunderstorms. We have 10 plus the 20 severe thunderstorm warnings in Canada, so 16. do have a little supercell off the coast of Michigan again, but it's off the coast, so don't worry. And I don't think it's going to produce a tornado. Well, it won't produce a tornado. It will produce a water spout if it were to do anything, but I don't think so. We do no longer have a severe thunderstorm warning from Binghamton. This storm has weakened below severe limits. Unsure if they're going to extend it. It doesn't seem like it at the moment. There's still storms up here that might need severe thunderstorm warnings in the future. They're continuing to develop. See, there's like one storm near Colorado City that's still in the mountains, but that's not really developed yet. So now we have 70-mile-per-hour winds near Lubbock. So this probably will head towards Lubbock. I mean, let me see what direction it's heading. Yeah, I mean, it's heading towards Lubbock for sure. At least some part of the system. Maybe closer to Littlefield in the near term. So Littlefield, definitely be aware. You're not in the severe thunderstorm warning yet, but you're close to it. If you live in Morden, though, you have to be indoors and away from those windows indoors. And maybe approaching your safe spot. Just because of those 70-mile-per-hour winds can definitely blow. Hard. So we should get our SBC outlook soon. Not quite yet, but about 20 minutes. And that's what it seems like. I was wondering if the storm would make it back on shore. It might try to make it back on shore near Grand Rise, but I'm a little unsure of the direction of the storm. Always makes it goes in weird directions sometimes. But this is heading a little more right. That might indicate more of a tornadic potential, but it's over the water right now, so I wouldn't be too concerned with it. Maybe some water spouts in the future, but not quite yet. I mean, of course, I have the storm near Presque Isle Township. Still developing system. And over here in Lake Michigan, this is going to make it onshore soon, near Manistee. Let's look back in our camera in Kansas. We don't actually have one up right now, but this is probably the best one. Okay, well, that's a few minutes old. Let me see this. This is looking east, so you can see the storm from there. You can't really see it that well, but we would get some strong winds if we were just a few minutes earlier on this camera. So there it is. You can see cars driving towards the camera at this point. It is an interesting little signature near Oakley. Is that... I mean, it kind of lines up with reflectivity, but I want a way warmer scan for it to really show anything. This looks like rotation, but I want a way warmer scan. It might just be an inflow notch. I'm unsure. Or some sort of contamination, maybe due to the winds. I don't know. We're waiting for the next scan. But yeah, that is a new development, it seems. Even though it's actually persisted for more than one scan. So this might actually be developing. Might be a small QSCS tornado trying to develop there, but nothing yet. Couple of storms still riding on the outflow boundary in Colorado. So we're still watching if any of them can hook onto it and maybe produce some tornadoes, but we're not really expecting a likelihood of tornadoes. We're more expecting the hail, so they'll probably be before the outflow boundary for the most part. Just draped along there. Sorry, I gotta keep checking on my phone. I'm just checking something. Yeah, we're still waiting for more storms to develop. It is inevitable at this point. Or at least seems to be. Okay, this definitely is rotation near Monument. I mean, let me check with reflectivity. Yeah, I would say that's rotation heading towards Monument. It's not a tornado on the ground from what it looks like, but definitely some rotating storm. Probably some sort of wall cloud trying to develop over here near Monument. It would head towards in between Monument and Oakley. So that could definitely develop something. There's no tornado possible tag on it yet, but it definitely does have the potential to produce some sort of tornado in the future, especially with the rotation signature. But also, even if it doesn't produce a tornado, there's still some strong winds in this with not really the inflow, with the storm itself. So you can see this wrapping around of the winds here. Let me see if this is tornado possible now. It's still not, so I am seeing the rotation signature, though, and that is making me think there could be a tornado potential with this. So we'll see. A lot of storms in this area still. It's weird. It's just, I like the thinnest point of this line, though. But, I mean, that could still indicate something. I mean, it's probably branching off of this storm. But this actually looks less tornadic with the latest scan, so let's see. I mean, it might not fully be. It's weird. It's like it's on... This could be a land spout, too. It's possible this is also a land spout, because this is a weird location for a tornado to be. And land spouts are pretty typical over here, so... It's possible there's also a land spout ongoing. Although that does look like an actual tornado or something. I mean, not on the ground. This is not convincing enough to me, so... This is rotation potentially heading towards Monument, but I don't think it's anything on the ground or anything like that. I would definitely be close to that safe spot anyways. I mean, there actually isn't 70-mile-per-hour winds in this, but there probably should be, even with the rotation. I mean, the rotation kind of makes it 70-mile-per-hour winds, so... Definitely be aware in Monument and Oakley, you might get a big storm. Maybe try to approach that safe spot. Definitely a decrease in severe thunderstorm warnings lately. There's only 9 active in the United States and 6 in Canada. So that brings us down to 15. So still waiting for some development over here in northeastern Colorado into southwestern Nebraska in this general area. Still waiting for storms to possibly develop along the southwest boundary, which we see is moving to the east. We can see a couple of storms developing over here in the Denver area too. But they're not really supercells right now, so those are probably not the storms we're looking for. Okay, latest scan, it does seem like that signature is weakening near Monument. So it could have been some rotation, but it's kind of weird. It was in a weird spot, so it might have just been strong winds. But either way, I think this does have 70... Okay, there's the tornado possible tag, so that makes sense. There is a tornado possible tag on this now, so now you definitely got to get close to your safe spot. Not quite there yet, but close. Just get near it. Because there is a tornado possible tag. A tornado could form soon. Not at any moment, but soon. Definitely isn't looking as tornadic anymore, though. You can see it here on the storm relative. It's not as strong values. Still looking in that area, though, as things continue to develop. I'm surprised we still have a special weather statement on this. I'm not really sure. Okay, well, there it is. There it goes. Have a strong storm over here in Denmark, Wisconsin. Not anything crazy, though. You can see a few inflow notches, but it's mostly a hail, maybe some wind threat. We do now have an extension of the previously severe thunderstorm warning in Binghamton. Looks like the storm is re-strengthening as it approaches Pennsylvania. A very slow-moving storm at that. But as it's heading into Pennsylvania, it's approaching towards Montrose and New Milford along the I-81 corridor. So, definitely be considering going indoors for that. Does look like a strong storm. And we're still getting storms to develop north of it over here. We just got one to develop near Penn Yan in New York. So, still a threat over there, but mostly just for damaging winds, I would say. Once again, we are seeing some strong storms heading in between Monument and Oakley now. Not anything crazy, but there is probably 60-mile-per-hour winds in this, maybe possibly more. But we're not really sure at the moment. It just looks like a little bit of stronger winds compared to the rest over here. Now it heads straight for Oakley, so a little bit of a stronger windstorm for them rather than anybody else. But that's about it. Maybe part of the inflow or something. Does look like the storm off of Presque Isle Township is starting to weaken, so you can maybe sail your ships there a little bit less cautiously, because there is less of a storm there. Of course, we still have these storms in New York and Pennsylvania. This storm does seem to, like, be pulsing, mostly. Going in and out from a stronger storm to a weaker storm, but we're watching it. Then, of course, we still have this line approaching Arnapur, Renfrew, south of Barry's Bay. So maybe some hail on this, possibly some tornadic development in the future, but not right now. There's no tornado warnings active. Yeah, whatever rotation signature existed before is now gone. There's mostly strong winds in this, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do upgrade to 70 miles per hour, because this is a more widespread threat now. But the main strong winds are over here southeast of Monument, but they're not stronger by that much, so I would say we could be seeing an upgrade soon, but I'm unsure. I'm not the NWS. But most of us severe thunderstorm warnings are confined to this area, which is the severe thunderstorm watch in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Most are confined to that area. Still waiting to see if they will issue a severe thunderstorm warning over here. That will depend on if convection develops. So a bit of a quieter picture as of now, but we're still waiting to see if more storms develop, which is possible. Now, guys, just give me a moment. I need to do something real quickly. It'll probably last a couple of minutes, so just give me a second. Okay, I'm back. So we're still watching these storms as they develop in real time. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning now north of Fort Morgan. I'm unsure if that's with the supercell. They do look like supercells, but it's kind of weird. It's like formed out of a bunch of little storms. It's kind of developing in a bunch of other convection right now. But it's still trying to develop. It's approaching towards Raymer. That's all we're really seeing right now. It's only that storm. And, of course, the wind warnings in Kansas. But doesn't even seem like these are really verifying. You can see these are actually much smaller than they were initially expected. Well, maybe not necessarily, but I think they were supposed to last through most of Kansas. And they're still lasting through most of Kansas, just not like continuous, not a line through Kansas, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we just have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now, besides this one extension in Kansas. So that leaves us, we still have 10 severe thunderstorm warnings active across the country. I'm not sure where all of these are from. And some of these are from Texas. There's 4 there. 7, 8. There's 2 more. I don't know where these other 2 are coming from, but oh, over here. There's just some strong winds over here in Pascagoula, so that's interesting. Oh, wow. We have a tornado warning, but I don't think it's in the U.S. I think it would be in Canada, yeah. We have a tornado warning in Canada. This is a developing storm near Burnstown. It's trying to rotate a little bit. Definitely has a hook on it. Probably in a good environment, because it's probably in a similar environment to that Upper Michigan storm. This is heading towards Carleton Place soon. Almonte and Perth and Smiths Falls. This eventually will reach New York in some capacity, but not quite yet. It still has a little bit of ways to go. Probably will do it overnight, and I don't think it'll be tornadic then. Still a lot to go for that. But we'll see what the risk says. So we still are waiting for SBC Outlook. Is it already here? Let me check. The SBC is working now. Not yet. We still don't have a new SBC Outlook, but that makes sense. So we have 1 tornado warning in Canada. And, of course, our severe thunderstorm warning. So let me actually say 1 tornado warning. So we still have a big hailstorm over here north of Fort Morgan, heading towards the Willard and Raymer areas. This isn't really doing too much right now, but it definitely is producing some hail if it is doing anything. And you can see also there's a couple of storms here near Burlington too. They look super cellular, not anything crazy with them, even though. Never mind. Thought that was rotation, but it looks like inflow actually. So. But yeah. So I'm unsure if we're going to get a watch soon for this area. We might in the future, but it really just depends how many storms develop. I mean, we just have this one storm at the moment, so we'll see if anything else develops. We do have this right here near, guess where? Oh, sorry. Just give me a second. So somebody was asking me about dinner. So just I'm not like hungry for dinner. So. Of course, once again, we do have a storm near Grover, which I feel like we've had the past couple of days, but it's not really heading towards Grover. It's heading a little bit away from Grover. We, of course, had the tornado a few days ago there, but it's not really tornadic, this storm. We do now have a new mesosphere discussion for the storm in Manistee. Some damaging winds are possible, as well as some hail. You can see this is a small storm near Manistee. It's mostly just producing some winds. You can see them out over the lake at the moment. Special weather statement for 40-mile-per-hour winds and pea-sized hail is in effect for that storm. But of course, we still have our one tornado warning in Canada. This doesn't look as intense anymore as it approaches Mississippi Mills, or just west of it. It's looking a little bit less intense. I'm not seeing any grays anymore, so that might be deactivated soon, but usually in Canada, they last them a little longer. Let me see if the new SPC outlook. Okay. Just making sure. Once again, guys, if you have any questions, just make sure to comment or ask those questions in the chat section. I would appreciate it both for my information and for your information. There is still storms in New York, but they don't look as intense as they were before. They just look like a bunch of little rainstorms right now, so I don't even know if they're thunderstorms. They could be, but it's hard to tell. We do still have a bit of rain, probably just rain in Montpelier. I don't see any lightning with this stuff, so. Is there any lightning? Do I have lightning on? Yeah. Yeah, there's no lightning on any of these storms, actually. I didn't even realize. Oh, there is. I just have to click on the radar. There's one lightning strike near Link Lane. One lightning strike over there. But definitely not very lightning-prone storms. So you still have this supercell north of Fort Morgan. It seems like supercells are already developing. It was about this time, maybe a little bit later, that storms were supposed to develop. Maybe they meant Eastern time, I don't know. But storms are developing. We continue to watch. Of course, we do now have another severe thunderstorm warning for these supercells north of Burlington. These developed pretty recently. I thought they already developed, but no, these are pretty new. This one's approaching towards Idalia, and if it does get into Kansas, it'll be northwest of St. Francis and head towards Haler, Nebraska. So still a long ways to go for the storm to reach it. I would estimate about, let me see. Where's that product? Okay. Yeah, so this is, okay, this is gonna reach Hagler in like an hour. That's actually quite a bit. So no threat for Hagler yet, but just be aware there is a severe thunderstorm that will eventually reach you. Also, guys, make sure to like the stream if you can. Just gets it out to more people who need it. Just make sure to do that if you can. Still waiting for the new SBC outlook, but I'm not going to be here waiting for it impatiently. Still average tornado warning in Canada. Not seeing as much rotation, but there is something trying to develop right over Waba. I don't know where that is exactly, and what county that is. Let's see. It's in Lanark County. So in Lanark County, there's a little storm there. Let's see it kind of wrapping around itself. Right over Waba right now. But not seeing too much with it. Definitely not a strong storm. Well, it is a strong storm, but not like lethal or in any means. Definitely survived that. Okay, we did just get our severe thunderstorm watch. With 80-mile-per-hour winds possible, so that's definitely a big possibility for severe thunderstorm winds. There isn't really a risk for a strong tornado. There is a 10% risk for 2 or more tornadoes, but that's very low considering what this watch possible thing says, but we're still going to watch for some winds and stuff. That's for sure. But we'll see if those 80-mile-per-hour winds actually develop. Things are calming down, it seems, though. Okay, there's the new outlook, but I don't think it's gonna show yet. So I'm just giving a moment. That's the old outlook. A little bit of a donut hole there. Right where this rotation is. Over Waba. Alright, this looks like the new outlook. They just shrunk the risk a little bit, the enhanced risk. Okay, it doesn't seem like we have much of a tornado risk anymore. And we do have a bit of a wind risk, but not anything insane. It seems like the wind risk has been confined to a smaller area. And we do have still the hail risk with those supercells in western Nebraska and northeastern Colorado. So I think that's going to be it for me, guys, honestly. I don't really see the point of continuing this. I mean, it doesn't seem like anything that bad. It is above an enhanced risk, but it's in such a small area that I feel like that kind of cancels everything out. So, I'm honestly just going to leave you guys to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please just subscribe, turn on notifications. If you don't know what the notifications look like, it's the bell icon, right? It's the subscribe button. Also, make sure to like this video. I don't care if dislike. If you really don't like this video, fine, dislike. But anyways, guys, it's something to note and something to always be willing to hear. The noise data on the road freeway will continue no matter how far you drive. Thank you, guys.